Hello, my favorite first graders. Now I'm going to talk to you about phonics. Last week in phonics, you practiced reading and making and writing words with the long O sound using a double O. Now remember, this is a special sound. It doesn't follow Mr. and Miss Short. It doesn't follow Miss Long. It's like a special sound, kind of like the bossy R words that we talked about a few weeks ago. And this week, you read and wrote and hopefully learned words with the long O sound, the double O long sound. And remember our long vowel marker, remember it's called the macron, that we use and that we see, and that tells our brain that it's a long vowel sound. And we had words on our phonics papers last week like moon and spoon and soon, zoo, cool, pool. All of those words have the long O sound with the double O. Now this week, you're going to work on the short O sound with the double O. Now this has a different sound. And remember, it's a special sound, and this time it makes the sound. Everybody say Mr. Toby said it in the living room. You can't hear him, but I heard him. So this time, you're gonna see the brevy sign on your phonics papers. And this week, you're gonna see special word family words like book and cook and look. All of those words have the sound. You're also going to see word family words like ood, like the word good, and wood, stood. Those words have the special sound in them. So on your phonics papers this week, you're going to see the short double O special sound. Now later on in the week, they're going to mix them up, and you're going to have to determine, is it the long O sound or is it the short O sound with the special double O. Also this week in phonics, you're going to talk about something or see something. We're not really going to talk about it because we're not together, but it'll be on some of your phonics papers, and it's talking about possession. Now possession, that's a big word. It just means ownership, like this. This is my marker. It's Miss Boyett's marker. Now when I make a word possessive to show ownership, I'm going to add the apostrophe S at the end of my word. I'm going to write my name, Mrs. Boyett. Now if it's my pen, I'm going to add the apostrophe. And remember, when we make an apostrophe, it's like a comma, but it's in the sky. Apostrophe S. Now it says Mrs. Boyett's. Now what do I have? What belongs to me? This is my pen. Now remember a long time ago when we talked about nouns and we made our noun town? Remember we talked about how a noun is a person, a place, or a thing, or an animal? So pen is a noun. That's what I have. Mrs. Boyett's pen. We could do some other ones. We could say Bob's hat. Bob, apostrophe S. What does Bob have? What belongs to him? Bob's hat. Hat is the noun. And we ask ourselves, so what does he have? What does it belong to? Or who does that hat belong to? It's Bob's. And remember that apostrophe S shows ownership. So you're going to see that this week on some of your phonics papers. Toward the end of the week, you are going to see adjectives. Now an adjective, we've talked about this a little bit in phonics before. An adjective is a word that describes. What kind of pen do I have? Well, it's a blue pen. Blue is an adjective. What kind of pen do I have? Do I have a big pen or a small pen? Big is an adjective. Small is an adjective. Words like round or flat or high or short. Those words are also adjectives. Later on this week in phonics, you're going to see an area on your phonics paper where it talks about comparing different nouns using our special suffix, our creepy cats, ER and EST. Well, what does it mean to compare nouns? Well, I have two nouns from my kitchen. Here I have my apple. An apple is a noun. Remember, a noun is a person, a place, a thing, or even an animal. So an apple is a noun, but I also have a piece of yummy chocolate. Candy. Candy is a noun. Now when I compare these two things together, you know, my apple tastes pretty sweet. When I take a bite of crispy apple, it tastes sweet. Here's the word sweet. But I can say, and I bet you would agree with me, that my chocolate candy is much sweeter than my apple. So if I want to say the word sweeter, all I do is add our creepy alley cat ER to the word. Here's the word sweet. All I do is add ER. Now, what if I want to compare three things together? Well, in my kitchen, actually my daughter Abby helped me figure this out. In my kitchen, I have a set of bowls. 3 bowls. Now this one I can say, this one is big. I can say this one is bigger than this one for sure. And then I can say that this one is biggest. Out of all 3 of my bowls, this one by far is the biggest. You can compare them. You can compare the size. This one is the biggest. So when I compare 3 nouns together and I want to write the word biggest, all I have to do is add my creepy cat, my alley cat, EST. So let's write these words. Big, bigger, and then biggest. And don't forget, we have to double that consonant in the middle. Remember Uncle Short? Remember Uncle Short has to come in and double that consonant. Here's our double G's right here before we can add our alley cats. So later this week on your phonics paper, you're going to see that. First, you're going to compare 2 nouns, like my apple and like my chocolate. When I compare 2, I add the word or the suffix ER. If I'm comparing 3 objects together, like my bowls, I'm going to add the creepy cat suffix EST. This week, I'm going to challenge you when you are reading your stories or you are reading anything in your house. Maybe you have library books, maybe you are reading a story online, or you're reading a chapter book. I want you to look for the double O special sound, the long sound and the short sound. I also want you to look for that possessive, apostrophe S, the apostrophe S. And then I want you to look for words that compare, like big, bigger, biggest, sweeter. Look for words that compare. I hope you do well on your work this week. Work really, really hard. Remember how much I miss you and I love you, and I hope to see you soon.